up, y'all? I go by Even Though.
I go by Byron G.
And this is episode 1 of season 2 of Drum Machine Vibes.
Let's go.
It's a very special one. We have a guest today.
Neek100 on the line with us today to talk about him coming up as a producer, coming up in a family full of, musicians, and his new project that he's about to drop, Shapeshifter, coming very, very soon. If not, by the time you hear this, it's going to be a good episode.
Yeah, so why don't we bring him on in? Neek, how you doing, man?
What's good, y'all? I am doing good, man. Happy to see you boys. Missing y'all. I'm on the other coast now.
Absolutely. Likewise. Yeah, he's in Canada, for those who don't know. What part of Canada again?
Pretty much as west as you can be, the Pacific Northwest. I'm on an island called Vancouver Island in a city called Victoria.
Nice switch up from the city.
Exactly.
Nice.
Some new energy.
And that's good, around man. Where you grew up?
No, I actually never was here before, so it's kind of funny. But I used to be in a different area in this Pacific Northwest called the Sunshine Coast.
Okay.
Even more obscure. But
is that also Canada?
Oh yeah, same area.
Okay, right.
Like an island away, more or less.
And so that actually is a nice segue into our first question,
which is, what got you into producing, man?
What got me into producing? It's hard to pick like an origin in an origin story, right? Like the true origin. There's always like a door before the door before the door. But
yeah.
The big door for me, probably I would have to say, if it's not my dad who's a drummer and his job is to make beats, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah,
that's not that. It's that's a good one.
Yeah.
We got John Ramsey to thank for that. Popster, thank you. But we got
the professor, right?
Yeah, of many years. Go get his books, Alan Dawson. Get your rudiments on, everybody. Yeah, but no, my second oldest brother, Shaka, he was a beat maker. He's like almost 8 years older than me, and he gave me my first beat machine. He told me how to chop, and the Roland MS-1. If you don't know it, which you probably don't, look it up. It's like a little box about that big.
Yeah.
It's got 8 pads.
Ooh.
So I was like 16. This was 2000, and a lot of cats were not making beats, especially not in Belmont where I grew up. And I had that little box of magic, and damn, that was the beginning. Yeah, so that was the launch for me. Roland MS-1 via Shaka Ramsey.
Okay.
Just trying to be like him in the beginning.
So
really.
With that, right, you only had those 8 pads, and they were like time sensitive, I believe, too, like to 8 seconds or something like that.
As far as like how much time I had to
sample.
Because I had no cards. There was cards that existed, but that was like some bougie shit back then to have like a card you could put in your MS-1.
Yeah, right.
I never had a card, bro. So I had, I think it was like 50 seconds.
Okay.
Maybe 40 seconds. But check this out. Or maybe it was less than that, but there was a hack that Shaka taught me from day one. You could have 4 ways of playing the sample back, and the highest one would be like higher quality, and then the lowest one, it would slow down each time, but the quality would get worse, but you would be saving on sample time. So if I made my samples at like super slow, long 1, long 2, like a little tweak, then I would get more samples. I'm pretty sure that's how I did it. Because otherwise, if you had them all high quality, your beat would sound nice, but you had such minimal time. So your drum loop would take up like 30% of your sample.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I was just using loops back then. I would hold my finger on the button, have the loop, rock the samples with the other finger, you know?
That's
dope,
fresh. Yeah.
That's sick, man. That's really dope.
Yeah.
Were there like producers or rappers or singers that inspired your style when you first started?
Yeah, for sure. I latched myself on to DJ Premier pretty quickly. I was a Primo dude, loved Gangstar. So I studied a lot of his shit. Timberland was probably a pretty big influence on me, but I don't think I was really making shit like him, but he was stretching the box out,
for
right?
Sure.
So, and in a realm of like pop, so I think he hit me pretty hard, some of that Missy Elliott shit. Then I got into like a lot of underground shit, like DJ High Tech was probably pretty big for me
let's
eventually.
Go. Yes.
Yeah,
God
there
damn.
we go.
That was a whole like period of my life where I was just like I discovered high tech and Quali's Reflection Eternal, and I was just like, this dude's the best beat maker. Like, oh man.
So back in the day, High Tech and Quali came up in a group called Mood, Mood, and
Really?
yeah, he was a brief member of that. High Tech produced a whole album for them called Doom, which is just like inverted mood, you know? What I mean?
Yeah.
But their shit is
shit.
really dope, man. It's like some classic boom bop. Boom bop? No.
Boom bop?
It's like some
The
classic.
boom bop.
It's some classic boom bap shit, man. And but it's like on some almost anti-government conspiratorial shit. So you might dig that shit.
Sounds up my alley.
Yeah, I'll check that
so
out.
That's probably like, it's like probably like 96 kind of shit.
Yeah.
I never knew about
That's
Mood,
cool.
or if I did, I forgot because it's so long ago.
I'm gonna check that out ASAP.
So they actually have a track called Karma where they sampled Nina Simone's Misunderstood in a really dope way that wasn't done. Like I heard Lil Wayne do it, I heard Common do it.
Huh.
But this is a way that nobody else did it, and it was just like one of the first people to sample it.
High Tech's crazy. He really
Super
is one of the
underrated.
greats to me. It didn't get his full. I mean, the underground gave him a lot of love, or I guess he got kind of big.
He definitely did it the way he wants you know what I mean? Like he definitely didn't follow
never
an
sold
industry
out.
shit. He just did it the way he wanted to do it.
Pretty
Exactly.
respectable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Ninth Wonder kind of like carried his torch a little bit. That like
I like
independent, but yeah, like you see that intersection a little bit.
Yeah, I do like that.
I don't know if they're from a similar area or not, but
I think
Yeah,
High
so
Tech
Ninth
Wonder-
Cincinnati, right? Is High Tech?
yes.
And Ninth
Cincinnati.
Wonder is
North Carolina.
Virginia. North Carolina
Yeah,
is right.
Yeah.
Okay,
So definitely.
I'm not a specialist on the map. I don't know how super close that is, but I know they're close enough.
Yeah, it's definitely a ways away from each other, but hey, man, kinetically,
Yeah.
they're on the same same level.
Genetically, save me. Thank you. You don't want to be a carbon copy, but everyone's copying to an extent in music, right?
Yeah.
Music, yeah.
Let's just be honest. You know, when you do it on your own, when you take it and make it your own, I guess there's an argument for it. You know, it's yours now, but
Yeah.
I like to think.
Thank
matter what.
God there's enough, effects and tempos and different way to chop shit and all that, drum sound.
Well, nowadays I think tech is a distinguishing factor between producing a lot. Like you could say like different, Ableton versus Fruity Loops, might help define a style more so
Yeah.
than location,
For sure.
Nowadays it's like the route you go is like not just geographical because everything's connected anyway, I guess.
Yeah. Did
But
you
yeah, it's a
ever
good
use
question.
Fruity Loops?
I tried once, like a couple years ago, for like 20 minutes, just to see what it was like.
Fruity
And,
Loops?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So recently you tried it?
The only time I ever tried it was like a buddy brought it by like last year, and I was just like, let me see what it's about. I've watched people get down with it a little bit. I got a couple homies. Jerome, he gets busy with Fruity Loops.
Oh,
You
yeah,
guys
okay.
remember Jerome, right? He rocked on that set when I
Absolutely.
met both y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah. People do crazy shit with it for sure, and now it's pretty evolved, huh? From what I
Yeah.
hear.
Yeah,
I'm
it
sure.
definitely is, yeah. I remember my dad using it back in, 2005, I think. And
Your dad using it? You said?
yeah, that was the first time I ever saw it, was in like 2005. And
Wow.
yeah,
It's old.
he was like producing for some of my cousins. And like he had a studio in Nashua and produced and rapped and tried to do all that shit. But yeah,
Really? I didn't know that.
my aunt Lisa is like super was really trying to get back into it and asked him to produce a song and for my cousins who are really good singers. And yeah, I saw him making beats on Fruity Loops. He taught himself.
Wow.
And it was super early. Back then it actually was Fruity Loops. It wasn't FL Studio. And
I got to ask you a question though, BG.
yeah.
Have you made a beat with your dad?
I have not, no. But
Not yet?
I'll tell you, man, if And you can fucking keep
Right?
this in. I don't give a shit. I haven't talked to him in a while, but this man
Context.
had like the most amount of records I could ever I've ever seen in my entire life.
Really?
He had like a record store worth of records, worth of albums.
I'm glad to hear that about your origin story too, man. It's good. It's good to
Yeah.
know.
There you go.
It's interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess while we're on the topic of fathers and musical influences from said fathers, my dad doesn't make any music, but his, style of music selection and the way he was able to appreciate the nuances in a song, like a Red Hot Chili Peppers song would play, and there's like a little chunk of it that only happens once, and he would be like, "Hold on, listen, you hear this part?" You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah,
And
that's cool. He had the
so
ear
so
for
then
it.
exactly.
ear.
So then when I'm making something, I'd be like, "All right, listen, this," like
Yeah.
That's beautiful, right? That you can share
Yeah.
that. You guys got the ear.
right.
So you
And-
actually led me to. Oh, keep going. I'm sorry.
No. What were you saying?
I was gonna say. Well, I was literally about to jump topics because you got me thinking now. Because after saying
Go for
that.
it. Go for it.
What do you guys think is the most important, part of you when it comes to like beat making? Like your brain, your freaking heart, your
Good
ears.
Good question.
So you're thinking like anatomy wise, not
Oh,
like
right. We got to break
Yeah,
this
yeah.
down.
abstract. Okay, Neek, you go first.
It's got to be the brain, but like it's the way the brain and the ears interact. And then
Okay, yeah,
that's,
pick
that's
two.
what gets my hands moving. It starts in the brain.
Right.
But it's feeling, right? like feeling. If I don't feel it, like what, I don't know if I'm really
Yeah, that shit's
gonna make
stopping,
much,
going
you
straight
know?
in the trash. Ding, dropping that right in
What?
the trash.
Why don't we say this then? Brain, heart, or gut? And you can only pick one.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Whew. Okay.
Ooh, and I feel the gut is like that's like what you digested. That's like
Right.
your influences.
Not just that, not just that, but like the gut feeling you get when you hear something and you can't explain it,
Okay.
or you feel something you can't explain it.
So if that's the definition, I'll go gut.
Okay, word. I convinced you with my explanation.
I'm gut in the cut.
I gotta go
Okay.
feeling. I think.
So hard
because
for you?
It's for yeah.
Well, they're all like feeling in a way, but what do you, heart, brain, or gut?
Man, I gotta go.
Who are you, Byron?
Dude, right?
Do you know?
Honestly, I'm going with my heart, right? Especially right now, like I was saying, because there's so much stuff going on right now. So we're all a bunch of artists. We're all, doing shows and putting projects together and doing all this shit. And, sometimes you'll work with somebody and you're like, I don't know. Or you're making something and you're just like, it's not really the type of feeling I was going for, or, and I'm notorious for that. So I'm just like, I literally drop that shit in the trash and people are like, yo, bro. And you're like, I don't know, man. I wasn't feeling it. So I feel like I definitely have to follow my heart when it comes to things like that, because, we're not, this is what I'm trying to explain, was we're not doing it for the money, but eventually it does become that, because obviously we want to create art and create art only. But if you're not working with the right people or putting out the stuff that you want to put out, then you're never going to get to where you want to be, and you're never going to, it's just, I feel like it'll never click if you're not truly following your heart.
I see why you want to say feeling. It's like almost like a feeling of like I'm in the right place, right space to be
Exactly,
creative.
man. Like we're all a little older now, and we've all definitely have been, doing it for a while, and have worked with a lot of people. And right now, I could definitely say that I feel like this is where I need to be. This is where I should be. I feel like the roles that I have right now are definitely like, this is it. Like, you know what I'm saying? and I feel that shit right
Yeah,
here.
man.
you know. So,
Man, before I answer, Byron, I'd like to say that if you didn't already say it, the word love comes to mind. Do it. You're doing it for the love, man.
that's why we're all doing it right now. You know, because we love it.
So
Because we love it.
For my answer,
Yeah,
I'm
man.
just gonna go ahead and say brain, since there's three of us and three options. And here's why. I mean, not to say that the heart and the gut aren't important, but here's what they all have in common. They all have neurons in them, which are, the electrical impulses that are associated with thought and stuff. So when you say you have a feeling in your gut, you have the same sort of mental reaction in your stomach that you might have in your head. And some people say the order is stomach then head. So, and same with the heart. There's neurons in your heart too. So when something happens and it triggers oxytocin, which is like the love chemical or whatever, so when you hug someone for like 10 seconds or something. So imagine like thinking the first time you saw your like favorite artist live or whatever, you could just, the neurons in your body could just react to that all with the brain at the helm. So there's my answer. Yeah.
Good answer.
Dr. Even, though.
But so I'm gonna take a quick break to get into some Hellhound Publishing ads about some great music that we have available on our website. And when we get back, we'll talk more with Neek100.
What's good, everybody? I go by the name of Byron G, and if you head on over to hellhoundpublishing.com, you're going to be able to check out all the projects that Hellhound has released. Right now, you're listening to the new single called Scary Stories, which is off Meet Me in Gate City by Cody Pope and myself, Byron G. Yeah. And if you guys are just chilling, maybe trying to get a few bars off, you could throw on Rain Check, which is an instrumental album by myself, Byron G. Now back to drum machine vibes. Okay.
So for the second part, I actually wanted to start with something that I had written down here on my little sticky pad. Tripsy is also like a big drummer guy. So when you were talking about your dad being a drummer, that's what came to my mind. And you two are both friends and Canadians. And I want to draw that parallel there and see if there's anything there.
It's an interesting connection that you bring up. I mean, to start, my dad was Evan's drum teacher at Berkeley.
That's so crazy.
What?
Yeah, before I knew Evan.
I'm so glad I brought it up.
Didn't know that? Yeah.
No.
So to bring it full circle, my older brother Shaka also went to Berkeley, and he's a drummer as well. So he saw me and Evan at work one day, and we all worked together, and he walked by, and he was like, "Oh, we got the Berkeley boys here." So we're all some Berkeley boys, you know.
That's nice.
Okay.
That's kind of the umbrella. But yeah, Evan's a drummer. Evan's a nasty drummer, and I can feel and hear his drumming in his beats. You guys, I'm sure, can feel that shit too.
Yeah, dude, we do.
When just think of the name of the show, Drum Machine Vibes, right? Like producers are drummers if you think about it, especially if you're on the pads, right? Well, much more so, I think, on the pads. There's that actual drumming aspect, it's just with your hands, right? So I think that shit came kind of natural to me because I'd been playing drums before I'd been making beats, you know. And I think if you hone that, that muscle memory in your hands, that's a nice tool.
Oh, for sure.
In the kit, you know.
Definitely.
For sure.
So maybe we could each talk about our the importance or part that drums play in our actual beat making process, and then we can get into the specifics of maybe the drums on Shapeshifter, your upcoming album on Hellhound Publishing. So Neek, do you want to go first? You want to go first?
Yeah,
or
they feel like it's like groove, right? It's kind of the beefiest part of the beat often in hip hop, right? That's what people feel, like low end, right? bass and drums probably what you feel quicker than anything. So I think we respect that intuitively as producers. Yeah, I'm still kind of tweaking my approach to drums. On Shapeshifter was a lot of sampled loops, and then just kind of messing with those loops once they're in an audio file in my DAW, you know, and getting a little creative with them. But they're mostly all live drummers. So I guess my comment will be like, I have somewhat of an obsession with my drums sounding like an actual drummer, which not surprising, I guess, right? It's a big deal to me.
Would you ever make a whole album, right? Like, you know how a lot of the Griselda and Alchemist, Rock Marciano, all those guys right now are just it's basically all samples, you know? There's not really a lot of drums. If there are, they're in the sample or something like that. Could you ever make like an album, you know, even if you had like somebody rapping or whatever, like an instrumental album with no drums and just samples or just like you playing?
I've had that idea. There's a few cats out there who do that, like artists that choose producers mostly with that style of like drumless, and it really allows the vocals to shine. And I think it's refreshing personally because I think we're a bit drummed out at this point. Drums, I personally, it might be a harsh take, but in hip hop, like we've kind of abused them in a sense, like turn the hi-hats up fucking super loud, make everything loud and dominant, and it's like it works to an extent, but I like music to be dynamic and genres to be dynamic. You know, if hip hop's always loud drums, how dynamic is it, you know? So
that's why it's tough.
I don't know.
Like,
what do y'all think?
That's why it's tough with like the mainstream right now. It's because it's like, you know, it's like the same snare in every track, and it's the same hi-hat sounds, same 808 sounds. It's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I don't think I could, bro. I love like drums and like different velocities and layering and stuff like that. I don't think I have a track without drums on it, honestly, now.
All right, that's a challenge for you then.
And before, like, I used to love, like, and I still do, obviously, like, trigger my drums, like, with obviously kick, hi-hat, snare, whatever. But I've been loving just, like, the chopping drum breaks right now.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's my thing right now. It's definitely more into, like, drum breaks. So, I don't know, man. I think eventually, but, like, right now, I just, like, there's so many drums. So many good sounding drums.
I don't blame you.
That are not used repetitively in today's music.
Each of us are influenced by the beat as far as things to add, things maybe to subtract, because a lot of beat making, and I think both of you know this, is subtractive. Not just as far as like chopping up samples, but maybe playing something and deleting parts of what you played, or having, you know,
it's
6
nice
melodies
to keep, like,
only keeping 3. So
I like to keep my foot on the gas pedal if I got some momentum as far as, you know, getting ideas out of the brain onto the screen or onto the drum machine. So I'll try to keep that foot on the pedal as long as it's going, and that's like one mode. And then sometimes I get burned out doing that, or it's just time to not do that. And then it's like this other perspective where, like you said, maybe I'll start taking some stuff away or reassessing, you know, now that I can reflect and I'm not just like trying to push ideas onto the screen, you know, get them down. So it's a little bit of a dance between those modes, I think, for me.
PG, what about you?
I guess I just, you know, I definitely try a lot of shit and take a lot of shit away. That's for sure. And then you say even like EQ, you know, if you really like the sample, but it's clashing with you know, a certain frequency or whatever in the mids, then you'll subtract, you know, something out of the sample and maybe boost it in the synth or whatever. So yeah, you're definitely trial and error, you know, and that's definitely, you know, subtracting a lot.
Wax on, wax off.
Exactly. All right, guys. Well, that concludes the second half of the interview. Now we're going to jump into some ads, some more dope Hellhound music, brought to you by the great producers and artists over at Hellhound Publishing.
When we get back, we'll talk a little bit more with Neek, and we're going to play a little game. Hey everybody, I go by Even Though. Just want to take a break from Drum Machine Vibes to let you know about the album that I produced that was released on Hellhound Publishing. It's called Solstitial. It is a typo. I know it's not a real word, but it's very cool, kind of lo-fi album. And this is one of the beats from it. At the end of 2022, Trip Seat put out a phenomenal album called Carnivora. It's unlike anything you've ever heard until now. No. Until now. You're hearing it now. That boy crazy. Anyways. And now back to Drum Machine Vibes with myself, Even Though, and Byron G. All right, welcome back to Drum Machine Vibes, Season 2, Episode 1. We got Neek100, and we're going to play a little hip-hop kind of game for the last chunk here. I'm going to explain the rules real quick, and then we'll get into it. It's simple, really. First round, we're gonna start off top 3 favorite producers, and then what you would picture their spirit animal as.
Oh, who is the producer's spirit animal?
Yeah, and then the second round we'll do top 3 favorite rappers and their spirit animal. So Neek, if you want to go first, feel free.
Are we gonna go one by one? Give me a better time to think, or you want all 3 in a row?
Go round robin.
That's a great idea, my man.
Yeah.
Let's round robin.
That's a great idea, my man.
Man.
All right, I'm seeing Timbaland in my top 3.
Mm-hmm.
Timbaland's spirit animal. He might be like a killer orca whale, B. He's kind of the king of the sea. He's one of a kind, right? You don't encounter too many orcas. They're pretty, rare as far as animals go. Kind of have like that power and that grace.
Yeah.
And that style. I don't know. It's a little bit of a stretch, but that's what I see.
Wow.
I'll spark it with that.
I like that. You want to go next, Evan?
I'll go third. Byron, you got something?
I'll probably have to go, Dr. Dre, right? I'm going to try and name some other ones that I didn't get a chance to name yet on Drum Machine Vibes anyways. I'll go Dr. Dre, and I'm going to say he's the lion, bro. He's the lion. What can we say? He came up in, came up in, yeah, definitely. Like, right? I feel like he's definitely the king of the king, He's not too many people can match up to him, so he's.
I wonder if he's a Leo.
He's not getting eaten by nothing else, no other animal. He's already attacked, and he's been around.
Yeah,
he's like Mufasa, bro. He's he
doesn't have much.
That dude, he's right.
And he doesn't have to prove himself all the time either. He can just kind of chill.
No,
and when
kind of like a quiet fire.
Yeah, he could have different producers and different people on his shit, and it's like, but it's still it's always got that Dr. Dre sound, Being the lion, man, he's the fucking king of the jungle, kid.
Definitely a leader too,
Right.
Yeah.
I'll go now, and since it's a theme for the evening, Neek went with the ocean, Byron went with the land, and I'll go with the air.
Yes,
okay.
So DJ Premier, Falcon or a Hawk? Now, at first, I was just thinking of him looking back and forth really quick on the turntables and like having like that razor sharp eye. But then I was also thinking of how they fly in the air and how it's very precise and how he is with his cuts and the way his drums sound,
All right, it's my turn now.
Yep.
Another top 3 producer. I'll go with the dude that I love now, Flying Lotus. But who is he? Flying lotus,
Ooh.
spirit animal. That's not easy. Oh man, I kind of picture like a panda bear.
Bro, I was just thinking some rare endangered shit, and I was legit thinking like a red panda.
I don't know why it came to mind, but I'm seeing the black and white panda.
Endangered.
But like a big one.
Don't let me change it. Yeah.
Chomping on bamboo.
Yeah.
He's plant-based.
I dig that.
Good vibes. Mm-hmm. Peaceful, but deadly if he needs to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Byron, what you got for your next one?
So I'm going to go with Pharrell. And
good choice.
I'm not going to say this because he played this animal in a movie already, but he is the elephant.
Okay.
Because he was an elephant in Sing 2. So, but that's not why. That dude is always happy, bro. And elephants are known to be one of the happiest animals on the planet. You know, a lot of, I feel like he definitely gets his flowers now. Mm-hmm. But his sound, with it being, so almost bare bones in the beginning.
Right.
Like grinding, think of, for instance. It's almost like the opposite, where he's so, like the elephant being so big and his production being so, quote unquote, simple, I guess. It's not really, but.
Yeah.
But it's big, though.
His stuff was so different and it hit so different, and nobody really talked about him, but everybody always respected him.
I hear that, man.
I mean, shout out Chad Hugo.
So, yeah.
Shout out Chad Hugo, too, right?
For real. That's what I always tell Cody. I'm like, yo, I'm just going to be the Chad of the group, all right?
Not bad, though.
Being no interviews, no nothing.
I'll be Chad.
I'll just be in the studio. Yeah, exactly. There you go. I love it.
All right.
What you got, even, though?
I'm gonna go with. Now this isn't like top 3, so I'm gonna break one of my own rules. But he's definitely in like the top 20, we'll say. Arab music. People forget about this dude. I'm gonna go with a Ram. His shit always hits hard, and whenever I think of him, I think of a certain type of snare. And I'm just thinking of the sound like two ram horns bumping up against each other.
Wow, that's a specific
I
reference.
Because I totally feel that.
That's fair.
Yeah. All right. So why don't we go right to round 2, where we do favorite rappers. We'll do two favorite rappers, and then their spirit animals, and then we'll wrap it up. What do you got, Neek?
I'm just gonna go off what I see. I saw an image instantly. I thought of Kendrick. He's definitely in my top 3. And I was seeing like a jungle cat.
Okay.
And I
thought you were going to say goat.
The goat? Hey. Yeah, that would be. I mean, I don't know if he's there yet.
I know.
He's in the combo. He's in the combo. But yeah, I'll say like a leopard. I can see him just being like doing whatever he wants in the jungle. I don't see him as like needing to be the apex necessarily.
Right. But he knows
he doesn't have that ego.
Exactly.
Kendrick's much more.
But he knows no one's gonna fuck with him.
I mean, look at he's got the claws. He could probably take out a lion if he wanted to, right?
Oh yeah.
Might not be his desire.
Right.
I don't know. Something about like the grace and dignity and like wisdom of like a jungle cat.
Most definitely. Cool. Byron, what do you got?
So I'm gonna go with DMX.
Okay.
And he is a gorilla, but he's not like the gorillas, like, he's like the gorillas from like Congo. You know what I mean? That, you know what I'm saying? That like fuck up other gorillas and like eat other gorillas. Like, he's that dude. He just didn't like, he stayed true. He's always hitting you over your head, with some crazy, not giving a ish type deal. And he was vicious, bro. I feel like no one wanted to mess with D if they saw him in the streets. He talked that shit. So that's what I'm going to go with.
It.
Weird.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, definitely.
For real.
For sure. So for mine, I'm going to go with Aesop Rock and like a raccoon or something. Like, because I always picture him like very nocturnal.
Yeah.
Has a lot of ingenuity. Like, they have little hands, you know what I mean? They can do a lot. They'll they'll be seen when they want to be seen type shit a lot of the time if they're smart.
Okay.
All right, Neek, what do you got for a second rapper?
I'm gonna go with Common.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
picturing like a young Common or just like, you know, prime Common. Mm-hmm. I'm stumped, bro. I kind of want to go with something in the sky. I'm gonna say Eagle. Common's the Eagle.
Oh,
He
I
flies
approve.
close to the creator, man. You know,
Yeah.
he flies above, he sees below. There we go.
There you go.
He's definitely got the eye, the perception. He only eats when he needs to.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that feels right.
All right. What do you got, Byron?
I'm gonna go with man.
We're running out of animals here. It's a fun but challenging game.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Andre 3000
Ooh.
and a penguin.
Interesting.
And
Explain.
the reason why I'm saying that, right, is because you know what? I can't go with the penguin, bro.
No.
I was going for majestic. and
Maybe
I
peacock.
instantly thought of a unicorn.
Yeah.
Even though it's not even a real
The
fucking
unicorn?
animal. But
Oh, man.
Could work. You want to say unicorn? We'll change it to unicorn.
no, it's all good.
I see the penguin for some reason.
I do. Me
Yeah.
too, man. I see
I
the
do.
penguin.
Yeah. Yeah.
They got the
Very
natural
sa-
tuxedo,
Yeah.
you know?
Very stylish. Very
Dressed to impress.
nothing really bothers them, and nothing
Cold chilling.
really. You know what I mean? Like the penguins are always like happy-go-lucky. They know they're dope.
Now,
That was dope, though.
now this is the one to end it, and I think I'll need everyone's approval on this since we're all big hip hop heads. I thought about this for a few minutes. Now, Eminem. What do we think of Rattlesnake?
Yeah,
Venomous. He loves Venom. He talks. He has a song called Venom. He strikes quickly. He like is aggressive.
Defensive.
Yeah. Cold-blooded.
Tightly wound.
Yep. He could go into hiding and for a while and come back out and fuck some
Yeah,
shit up.
that matches.
Yeah. All right. We okay with that? That's a big.
I do like that.
And precise, right?
Oh,
They're pretty
man.
precise. Like, they strike
Yeah.
exactly where they want. And that's fucking M. Like, he's pretty...
Right,
Pretty
like
precise.
even like you don't know he's there, but you hear that and you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
But he's always there.
That's like the warning shots, you know, when he like doesn't destroy your career fully, you know.
Rest in peace, Machine Gun
half
Kelly.
strike.
That's immediately who I thought of. Bro. That's why. Because it's the most recent career to be destroyed. That was great, guys. That was dope.
Good images.
So before we wrap it up, I wanted to give Neek a chance to say a little bit about his album real quick, where we can find it, and maybe what it means to you, if you can summate that.
Well, the album is Shapeshifter, and you need to get that at hellhoundpublishing.com. It will be available exclusively there very, very soon, perhaps now, depending on what point in the timeline you're at. So go cop that on the website. And what it means to me, damn, I mean, it means something very beautiful because hopefully and ideally it means something to other people, right? So it's kind of an intersection of meaning there between me and the audience. But it's kind of a bit of a choose your own adventure in a sense. I'll let you figure that out when you listen to it. But everyone's going to take what they want from it, and I hope. And that's kind of how I set it up. There's a lot of my heroes speaking on it. There's a lot of words to listen to, not just beats and melodies and harmonies, but the words are going to kind of speak to you in their own level. So that's what's meaningful to me, as well as the music, is that people get to interact with, their own values, their own thoughts, their own ideas. Hopefully the words on the record kind of spark some of that in people. So yeah, that's a big part of it for me. But I'm curious how it lands, right? Got to find that out.
Absolutely.
In the near future.
And where can people find you online?
As of now, I'm on IG and got the SoundCloud up as well. But yeah, just keep a lookout for the physical. It's gonna have some beautiful artwork made by my younger brother Yvonne. He did the art on the cover, and it's gonna be a special release. And get that shit while you can. Highly
I
suggest.
can't wait.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome. So
Me neither.
It was great talking to you. I mean, Byron, do you have any last words or comments? Do you want to plug anything before we go?
No, man. I can't wait for the album to come out. I think it's gonna hit in a different way. I think the heads are gonna really like this one. Really like this one. I'm excited for it. I've played it multiple times already. I'm excited, man. I'm proud because I remember when we first started talking about this, probably a year ago, somewhere around this time a year ago.
Yeah, something like that.
And we had everybody in the room, and we thought about this, and it's finally coming out. And I'm fucking rambling again, but
You good?
it's crazy to think about where we were a year ago, to see what it's become now from what it was is really cool. I think it's super dope, dude. Like, you had to look outside of the mainstream type of deal.
Absolutely. Those are great ending words, fellas.
Man, thank y'all for having me on Drum Machine.
It's long overdue.
Dude. This was
Yes.
I was very excited to do this. Super fun.
Right?
Thank y'all for
It
having
was
me.
a pleasure, man.
Yeah, man, this is cool.
For Hellhound Publishing, I go by Even Though.
I go by the name of Byron G.
This is Neek100.
And this was Drum Machine Vibes. Thanks for tuning in. Take care.
Peace.
There it is.